What's up, man? I want to talk about the Chicago Bears and, in particularly, the quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. Um, this year, I see a lot of the things that Mitchell Trubisky did last year that he's still doing this year. He's still not reading the field. Excuse me. He's still not reading the field, scanning the field, and going to his second and third receiver, and maybe even his fourth receiver, and sometimes his check down receiver, which usually is the tight end in the flat or the running back in the flat, or the slot receiver, cutting off his route on the flat. He's still missing receivers, wide open receivers, for whatever reason. He keep talking about his mechanics. Um, See, a lot of people don't realize that a quarterback mechanics, play a large role in their accuracy. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when Aaron Rodgers got drafted, and they said, well, he got all the arm talent in the world, but we have to break down his mechanics and retool him. And he was able to sit behind Brett Favre for what, 2 years, almost 3 years. And by the time he took the field, he was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? They had worked with him for 3 years. Mitchell Trubisky, which is it's other quarterbacks that I noticed that do not even have a lot of starts in college. Mitch Trubisky only started one season in college, 13 games. You know what I'm saying? I remember Mark Sanchez only had 1 year of starting in college also. So, and he came out to Matt Liner, and I believe he had one start in college, 1 year of starting in college, maybe a year and a half, somewhere up in there. But it's they're doing that nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And the bothersome thing is you still see last year the Bears defense had a lot of takeaways. Mitch Trubisky wasn't as bad as he is this year, and but the things he was doing last year were the same things he was doing this year. It just wasn't really highlighted. It was, people was talking about it, but it really wasn't highlighted to the point it is right now because the Bears were winning. They had a better record. You know what I'm saying? And like they said, winning cures all ails, and winning, people can hide things better when you win. You know what I'm saying? People will talk about it a little bit, but they really won't go in on you until you start losing. And this year, the Bears defense is not as good as it was last year as far as taking the ball away and all that. So and I've been telling people about this. I'm gonna make a video about this, but I'm gonna talk about it a little bit right here. You cannot let these quarterbacks come in the league and throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. You just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You have seasoned quarterbacks that have been successful, like Russell Westbrook. I mean, not Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ryan. These quarterbacks been successful for 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I don't even want them throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game. You put the ball in harm's way, number one. Number two, if your offense is not efficient, even if it is efficient, you putting your defense on the field a whole lot. The time of possession is not that long. Like I said, your defense is going to be on the field, and even a great defense can get worn down. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't sustain drives, that defense is on the field 25, 30. You know what I'm saying? Statistics show once your defense is on the field past 25 minutes in a game, it start their production started going down. You know what I'm saying? The ball gets moved on them, more often. The defensive line is worn down. Now the other team, when you were stopping them in the first half, snuffing the run, and they were only getting like 1 to 3 yards. Now they getting 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they bust, and then they break those 15, 20 yard runs. It's because your defense is worn down. You know what I'm saying? They're not superhuman, so they get worn down, man. That offensive line, more times than not, 90% of the time, outweighs the defensive line. The offensive linemen are big guys, like really big guys, like 320, 330, where the defensive line usually weigh about 295. You may have some 300 pounders on the defensive line. You may have some that's like 320. But more often than not, across the line, the offensive line usually weigh more, and they usually like big, stronger guys. So the defensive line are more equipped on speed and quickness. You know, they use their speed and quickness to get around the offensive lineman. But like I said, you got to have a strong running game when you have these young quarterbacks. You got to have a strong running game. The Bears do not have a running game. I don't know. I understand Jordan Howard did not fit into Matt Nagy's system perfectly, but you don't have to have every player to fit into your system perfectly. Like, Jordan Howard was catching the ball at the backfield last year. You know what I'm saying? He was catching the ball. One thing about playing football in Chicago, I'm telling y'all, people don't realize, it is windy. And in the winter, when it get real cold, you need that big running back pounding on that defensive line. You need that big running back. And Jordan Howard was that for the Bears. The Bears could have used Jordan Howard. They could have used Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard and Cohen, to me, they were complementing each other. You know, Cohen, you get him out on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? You can line him up as a receiver. Jordan Howard, you pound with him, and he was catching the ball at the backfield nicely last year. I don't understand why they traded him. Like, they need him right now. The Montgomery kid is like a bigger Tariq Cohen. He's not like a powerful runner. He's not going to he's an elusive guy, so he's not going to pound the defensive line and wear them down. Jordan Howard will. Jordan Howard was what? 6'1" maybe, 225 pounds. That's the running back. I would have kept him. You keep a running back like that. Even if you draft Montgomery, you keep a running back like that. So when your passing is not working like it is now, the passing is not up to snuff, you can run the football. But you have, even if you don't get a whole lot of yards, you have to run the football simply to keep the defensive line, the defense on the other end, keep them from you being predictable. Because if they know you're gonna pass, okay, we know you're gonna drop back and pass. You're gonna even pass on third and 2. The Bears passed the ball a couple times, not a couple times, more than 5, more than 6 at times I've seen this year. I seen them pass the ball 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Like, those are running downs for your running back to get those. Jordan Howard could have picked up those yards. Another thing too, I think the Bears offensive line is not a running offensive line. They don't have a running offensive line because even the Montgomery kid, and when they do run Tariq Cohen, there's no holes there. Like, they have to make 2 and 3 people miss to try to even get back to the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? The Bears offensive line is struggling. You know what I'm saying? Long is out. Cal Long is out for the rest of the year, I believe. They put him on IR. I mean, he can come back, but most likely he's out for the year. He's been having an injury-prone career since he's been with the Bears. He had some really good years, but for a lot of it, half of it he's been on the IR. They have to retool that offensive line, man. They really have to retool the offensive line. You have to be able to run the football. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can yes, you want to push the ball down the field, but if you see your quarterback struggling, you got to get some easy passes. Especially if you're going to pass the ball as much as these teams pass the ball, at least allow your quarterback to have a safety valve. You know what I'm saying? A tight end in the flat, like I said, and a running back in the flat. Yes, you don't want to. Matt Nagy did not want Jordan Howard anymore, but he's not using Tariq Cohen and Montgomery in the passing game that much. He's not using those two guys in the passing game. Last year, he used Tariq Cohen in the passing game a lot. Now they want to run Tariq Cohen in between the tackles. He's too small for that. He's too small of a running back to be running him in between the tackles. You have to get him out in space, get him out on perimeter, line him up as a receiver, put him in the backfield. If Mr. Trubisky go through his reads, he don't find anybody, get the ball out to Tariq Cohen in the flat. Get the ball out to Montgomery out in the flat. That's my thing. You got to sometimes you look. Yeah, yes, you want to run your whole playbook, and you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do all these plays that you know what I'm saying, Matt Nagy has written up. But sometimes you got to let your quarterback grow into that. You got to let your quarterback grow into to a Drew Brees, to where you trust him with every throw, with every play. He know most of the playbook. He's comfortable with a lot of the plays. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to let that manifest over time. They want to draft these quarterbacks and they want to push them right out there and say, oh, you could throw the ball 50 times a game because now the receiver it's the defensive back is less physical on the receiver. Now the receiver can be, you know what I'm saying, the receiver runs more freely. Yes, that's true, but these guys are fast. These defensive linemen are fast. These linebackers are fast. You still have to be wary of allowing a young quarterback throw 45, 50. A quarterback like Mr. Trubisky should not throw the ball no more than 35 times a game. 30. Keep him at 30. Keep him at 30 times a game. Run the ball 20. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to still pass the ball more than run, at least make it 45, 55. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still running the football. You're not putting a lot on your quarterback's shoulders as far as saying, okay, you got to go out there and win a game. Make it a team effort. Make it to where he goes into the game and can rely on the running game. So to me, that's what Matt Nagy has to do. I mean, he keeps saying he's going to do it. The last couple of weeks, he said they're not running the football. I believe last week they ran the football 7 times. They did get down early. Mr. Trubisky did miss some throws that could have kept some drives alive. That's another thing. When you miss those throws that you should be hitting, and you don't keep those drives alive, that wears on your defense. So hopefully this week the Bears can run the football more. The Bears need to run the football like 20 or more times this week. 25 times. If you run it 30 times, run that football, man. Keep your defense fresh. You know what I'm saying? So the defense can get more 3 and outs on the other team. You know what I'm saying? And they not wearing themselves out trying to carry the whole load of the team. But let me know what y'all think, man. That's what I think. I think Matt Nagy need to people gonna call it babysitting Mr. Trubisky. Okay, do what you got to do. Sometimes a mark of a great coach is learning how to work with what they have. Is learning how to nurture what you have and to let it grow and see it blossom. You know what I'm saying? So yes, he may have to babysit him for another season. You know what I'm saying? Until he, you know, to me, there's nothing wrong with Mr. Trubisky he can make all the throws. It's his mechanics a lot of times is off. That's why he missed these throws. He's throwing the football. He's dropping back, throwing the football too many times. He needs, like I said, he needs to run. The best thing you can have for these running backs is a really good defense, or a good defense, a sound defense, and a good running game. That will help these quarterbacks grow. You know what I'm saying? And as they growing, yes, you can still win games, because you can win games that way, and they can still grow at the same time. But let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.